I think we're good. Awesome. All right, I will go camera off too to preserve my bandwidth. But Dawn, it is all yours.
All right. Do you want to share do you want me to share my screen? Is that better?
Oh yeah, if you don't mind, that'd be better.
Right, I will go camera off too.
Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so welcome to Retrospective number 1 on marketing and operations. Thank you guys so much for being here. And I'm excited to see you all and listen to your presentations. I've been looking through them today and they look pretty exciting. So we don't have any announcements right now. This will conclude our operations and marketing part of the course, and then we will go into financials starting next week. So that's exciting for everybody, I'm sure. And then the rules of retro is really for those of you who are mentors or coming in to see what we're doing. You know, we really ask that the feedback that you give to our entrepreneurs is constructive and is really specific and kind, because we want everybody to grow from this. And then for entrepreneurs, it can be a little intimidating to get some feedback, but hopefully you all use it as an opportunity to refine your ideas and to grow from, and that's really our goal, is that this is a growing experience for you. And then there will be a feedback form. Every one of you has an individual feedback form, and Doug will put those in the chat before each presentation. So those of you who are giving feedback, it's only the mentors and any RMMFI staff that'll be doing that, but they'll fill that out between presentations. And I'll give you a minute or two between each presentation so that they have time to kind of finish that. Are there any questions? No? Okay. All right. So this is the RMMFI staff. I think we're missing some people in these photos, but this are many of us. We only have, there's about 35 of us of our organization. Most of the people in our organization are in Denver, but like myself, I'm in Trinidad, and we have someone in the San Luis Valley and someone in Sterling. And so we are expanding across the state. It looks like we're also going into the Western Slope soon, and we are programming in Durango. So it's exciting times for us. We also have a Spanish language program. So if any of you know somebody who is interested in the Spanish language program, they can join that too. And just let me know, and I can help put them in contact with our San Luis Valley program. Kat is our capital coordinator, and she's on this call. I wanted to put her email and phone number here, but she's going to be doing some office hours for some of the financial workbook stuff to really help you guys do with the numbers. And then I'm also going to offer some office hours during that to help with that. So hopefully you guys all get what you need from that process. We would love for you to follow us on all of our social sites. Okay. We also have a community and volunteer newsletter. So it tells what's happening. We get to like show off our entrepreneurs. We've helped well over 300 people start businesses across the state, and we're really proud of our entrepreneurs, and they do amazing, really interesting, really diverse types of businesses. And then we also have information about different programs that are available in our various communities that might be of interest to you. Okay. Rules of the retro. All right, tonight is marketing and operations. So 2 out of the 4 pillars of business: marketing, operations, financials, and management. And today we're only focusing on marketing and operations. So those of you who've never been to a retro before, if you have questions about financials and management, we have not gone into that yet in class. We're not to that part of our program. So really this is focused on this. There is a slide about capital our entrepreneurs may need. At this point, most of them are some of them have been in business and have much better ideas of what capital they need. And others are still researching that and exploring it. And so are giving that educated guesses. So that's still yet to be developed. Okay. So we're talking about things like the right message and the right audience. Have they narrowed into the right messaging and the right audience? This is where feedback can be helpful, thinking about, how to refine that. And then capital needs, target market. We really try to get people to focus on who is buying their products. What is that 4% who's really coming in the door spending money? And then the operations cycle. What are the logistics of running that business so that you can run it smoothly? And so you're not spending all of your time doing administrative work so that you're taken away from doing the actual business part of your business. Okay. Each person has 8 slides and 6 minutes. And if you start going too long, I'll start fast forwarding the slides on you, just like they do in the Oscars. And then we have some Q&A up to 10 minutes. And then there'll be 2 breakout rooms at the end that each entrepreneur will get to meet with some of the people giving feedback and to go over what they learned and to give you some live feedback. And then either later this week or early next week, I will also give you the written feedback that you will see or that everybody's filling out. Okay. Entrepreneurs will present in their breakout, or is this new, Doug, the breakout rooms?
Let's see.
And it says breakout room. Sorry, I guess I didn't.
Yeah, no, I think, sorry. Yeah, with this size of a group, we're going to do everybody together.
Okay.
Yeah, this was something that we had piloted in the Denver metro area for larger groups, but for this one, we'll just do everybody together and we'll do breakout rooms at the end for feedback.
Okay. And I will control the slides. So you can just tell me what you want me to advance, or if you kind of get to the end of it, I'll go to the next one, but just let me know. And only mentors and RMMFI staff will fill out the electronic scoring guide. You are not filling it out on each other. And each presentation has its own scoring form. So make sure you're filling out the correct one. I think everybody's names are correct in your Zoom box, so that should help. Also, you might want to make it so when you're viewing Zoom, the person who's speaking pops up on your screen so that you can see them. And then links to the scoring form will be put in the chat. So if you don't know where they're at, we'll put them in the chat right before right before they start presenting. And then all feedback is anonymous and scores and comments will be shared with entrepreneurs. But if you give anything a 3 or below, make sure to give feedback. It doesn't really help to say, this wasn't any good without saying why, because we don't learn that way, right? It's really important to say, hey, I feel like this needs some further development because I couldn't understand it, or, something a little bit more specific so that they can grow from it. Okay. And then inside the breakout rooms, you're going to chat with each entrepreneur after their presentations. And it's an opportunity to give some feedback, encouragement, and give ideas and suggestions. And that's a very casual, low stakes kind of conversation is how we see it. All right. Feedback should be high level, positive, honest, and I think specific. All right, entrepreneurs, you guys can earn up to $600 towards your launch loan eligibility. We have a matrix that we fill out that helps our financial team determine how much money you're eligible for at the end of the project. And so, having good attendance and doing makeup sessions and doing well in these are all part of that process. All right, so here's the order that you're going to go in. So Xander, you're going to go first, Sean is second, Jaylene third, Jennifer fourth, Jennifer Ard fifth, Kevin Castro, then Alicia, Jared, and Megan. So that's the order we're going to go in. Hopefully you don't mind being first or last, Xander or Megan. And then we'll go from there. And then these are your business coaches, financial coaches, and peer coaches. And a lot of you have Kat as a financial coach. We're piloting kind of a new program with you with this a little bit. She's going to do presentations for your financial workshop, and then have office hours to really help form that. What happened last time is that many of my entrepreneurs, Jamie can attest to this, we did all their financials, and then when they went into like get their loans and things like that, she wanted them to tweak them and redo them. So we felt like maybe it was better to avoid some of that down the road and get more specific directions from the capital team early on. Okay. All right. Xander, are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready to go.
Okay. And if you can turn your camera on while you're presenting, we would really appreciate that. And here's Xander's scoring sheet is in the chat.
And so I just gotta reorganize some screens really quick. 1 second. Perfect. All right. Again, everyone, my name is Xander, and today I'm introducing you to Aqua Futura Farms, where future meets flavor. We're changing the game with the aquaponics and renewable energy, and we're bringing you the freshest, most nutrient-packed local produce. Eat well, live sustainably, enjoy the movement today. Aqua Futura Farms is a sustainable aquaponics and microgreens farm. And we are going to focus on growing fresh, healthy food using a closed loop system powered by renewable energy. Next slide. So again, we are going to grow a variety of fruits and vegetables, herbs and spices. So our biggest competition is going to come from urban and local farmers. In our early stages, we do plan on working alongside them, and we want to cater to the individual customers in the beginning there. But as we grow, we also aim to produce larger quantities, and with that, we want to enter into bigger markets like restaurants, stores, and municipalities, all those good things around the local community. And our mission is all about bringing a sustainable twist to food production, and we're doing it with evolving technology, and that's going to lead us into the future there. Next slide. Our ideal customer profile reflects our core values and mission, which is to sustainably produce and provide high-quality microgreens, fruits, and vegetables to our local communities. By targeting these environmentally conscious individuals, our organization organizations, who prioritize sustainability, we're not only building a customer base that aligns with our brand, but we're also contributing to a more sustainable future. Next slide. Our approach addresses the unique needs of our 4% customer segments by offering diverse, sustainably produced microgreens, fruits, and vegetables with competitive pricing and an emphasis on freshness and nutrition. That means that our strategic marketing placement ensures accessibility through various channels, while messaging focuses on our community and sustainability, freshness, and local sourcing. So during that time and in all of our marketing materials, we're also going to emphasize the health benefits of those microgreens and the positive impact of supporting a green energy-driven farm. That's really our goal, though. And we're going to keep, again, presenting those or highlighting those in presences at the farmers markets, with partnerships with local businesses and institutions, and all that's going towards building trust and credibility in the community there. All right, next slide. So our marketing action plan, we do plan on using a lot of social media marketing. We want to share updates and take our customers on a journey through, the growth cycle to harvesting. We also want to include community engagement and host some eco-friendly agricultural events. That way we can kind of raise the awareness and create the brand familiarity. Email newsletters, we'd like to send some informative content about those microgreens, any benefits and seasonal offerings that we have as well. As maybe in the future, we want to try to do some special promotions, but again, that's going to come with growth and scale. And then the local partnerships, we want to establish relationships and collaborations with local restaurants, stores, offering them exclusive deals for promoting their use of our product. Next slide. So the big rocks here, I am owner operator, so I'm kind of building a dedicated and knowledgeable team, kind of grow the business as soon as possible. I know we aren't going to like grow really, really big, really, really fast. But I want to be prepared to do so. This is a very tech savvy industry, and as fast as those advancements come, you can get left in the dust. So I don't want to be that guy. We're also going to have to ensure that we do have available renewable energy sources, water supplies, and the ability to regularly maintain the complete aquaponic system. That aquaponic system itself is going to be one of the biggest costs to us, but it is essential for the entire operations. And where we plan on establishing relationships with local partners and maintaining an active online presence there. That sounds pretty easy, but I know you can get overwhelmed with a lot of the daily tasks and some of that stuff, admin work or daily posting to social media can get laborious. So we really want to stick with it and keep moving forward. And that's how we're going to do it there. And so next slide. This is just a great overview of how we plan on getting through the day, doing that daily farm inspection first thing in the morning, making sure everything is in optimal condition. Then we want to move on to harvesting and planting, where we actually do the harvesting of the crops. After that, we'll do the packaging of those crops as well. And then moving into midday, we want to kind of get into the admin stuff, right? Record keeping, communications, and planning. That also follows up with delivery and distribution. We want to make sure that product gets to where it needs to go on time. And then after that, we'll kind of shift gears into farm maintenance and make sure everything's, again, working optimally. If not, we do need to make sure we have a maintenance plan in place for the following days so we can make those corrections or adjustments. And then we go into business planning and strategy. I think that's going to be a focus time for us to evaluate and refine our direction. We're also going to include market analysis, financial planning, and any future growth strategies during that time as well. And then to wrap it all up, we're just going to do some reflection on the day, make sure that operations and everything were streamlined and efficient. And if not, we can adjust for the next day before we come in and get things started. And next slide. And so we have identified significant costs such as operational expenses, distribution and logistics, our marketing, sustainability alternatives, and even the potential expansion. These costs are mostly going to be funded by our revenue, and then we're going to also supplement that with grants and loans that we're going to consider for specific needs. Marketing costs and operation costs mostly going to come from the revenue that we've generated. We're also going to include a distribution costs budget, and then sustainability initiatives and initial growth, I think, is where we'll focus those other sources of funding like grants and loans. Grants definitely for sustainability and maybe some for growth, but loans primarily for growth there as well. And next slide. And then lastly here, I just threw in some numbers. We don't really have an accurate count of what the operations expenses are going to be. And I want to really dial those in because the more accurate I can get to those, the more I need to, or more or less I would need to borrow from grants or startups. So we just threw in an even number of $100,000. We will be privately funding this. That's where the majority of this investment for the company is going to come from. But we definitely need some assistance during the startup phase. And that is it. Thank you very much.
Woohoo!
Yeah, now it's time for some questions. Does anybody have any questions for Xander?
I did have one actually.
Sure.
Xander, fantastic job. I mean, you know, this was incredibly thorough, and I think you have such an incredible vision for this. I can tell you put in a lot of work. That's awesome. My one question was for your operations cycle. I just wanted to make sure that, you know, the hours that you're going to be putting in aren't going to lead to you being burning out, because it looked like close to like a 12-hour day. So how do you plan on kind of balancing the long days with this business, just to make sure that you're getting the nice, enough rest and recovery that you need?
So that is definitely a concern that I have as well. I know it's, doing this once before with another business, I definitely know how labor intensive things are in the beginning. But it's a dedication that I have, and I'm pretty confident once we get this up and running and we establish the system, SOPs, etc. This is something that we will be able to train, and I'm looking for that family and the friends kind of come to my savior right there, right, and dedicate their time and maybe donate some money or little things on that side. But I've got a really good support system, and I can't see anybody kind of, turning their head the other way on me. And I think a lot of those little things are going to go a long way for me to get this up and running until we can transition to year 2, to where we actually have the growth and sustainability to include more staff or bring on full-time employees.
Nice. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other questions?
So it looks like Alicia asked if I have any prior experience, not with aquaponics. I have researched aquaponics from 2009. It was always something that I was really interested in. I came across a book called Vertical Farming, and it really changed my perspective. And so funny thing is, right around 2009, 10, 11, you saw a lot of the doomsday preppers that were coming out, right? And they had systems like this, and that kind of drew me into being able to keep an urban farm, but doing something new. And then so since then, I've really been drawn towards aquaponics. I know quite a bit about it, not the legalities, but that's something I'm learning now as well. Thank you.
I have a question. You identified a location for this, and do you know what your build out costs are going to be? Because looking at your capital needs, it's a pretty capital intense business for your startup. So I'm pretty curious about that.
So, truth be told, we have a potential location. It's a family-owned land. So if we needed to, we could put up a building on there if I could swing the family in that direction. But I'm kind of working with James to see if he can get me more information on zoning and kind of law like that, to see how much I can actually do. I have a decent property here. We have a quarter of an acre, so I've got some room that I can put up like a shed and do things on a small scale initially, until we kind of get that financial backing for a bigger commercial site. So yes and no. I think I'm about halfway there, but I definitely need to get more information to complete that accurately.
And also access to water is a huge component depending on where your property is.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another good thing about the area as well, as we have some of those really good the water services and the pump services. So networking with them and getting to know who's going to be able to support me and kind of fill in my needs there is something that I have to do as well. But again, we're still in the beginning stages here, so I want to make sure that we have all the operations stuff ready to go for this next phase. And that's kind of where I'll be taking it.
Interesting.
Yeah, that was kind of my question as well, about maybe just considering just, start, like you said, you have a quarter acre, just starting a little bit smaller just to get yourself going and kind of get familiar with your operations, if you can't find the capital that you're looking for straight away. Is there a lot of things that maybe you would be able to, can you do, construction stuff yourself to save money? It's obviously probably quite.
Yeah. There's actually quite a bit of materials online, so you can go to YouTube, and there's a lot of people out there who do the aquaponics systems DIY setups, and so that is kind of something that we have in mind for our aquaponics setup. We have to calculate the grow volume, the holding tank, the number of fish. Then we have to calculate how many plants or how much of each plant we're going to have and their water needs, their nutrient needs, et cetera, right? So we're still dialing on the math, but I think that's going to be one of our go-tos, is trying to DIY most of the aquaponics system ourselves. And then kind of turning to some of those specialty pieces that we might need for, ease of use or kind of automation, especially automation. This thing is going to need a lot of automation for as busy as we're going to be. And I'd like to get some of that from, high tech sources. So.
Have you, sorry, I need to cut these short, but have you talked to anybody in the grow business, in the marijuana business? Because some of them might be converting some of their greenhouses. I'm just curious if there's any relationship there.
So I do have a good friend, and he's grown with hydroponics for, I think, 12 years now, 12 going on 13 years. Yeah, 13 years like this October. So like next month. So yeah, he's got a lot of experience with hydroponic system, and he's kind of my go-to guy. He's helping me design the closed loop system, calculating flow rates, nutrients, and stuff like that. He's kind of like he's like a subject matter expert, right? And so he's got like the grow lights and a lot of materials that we could use. So I'm trying to bring him in on board for the deal. Not too sure if he's willing to step up and become like an employee to where maybe I can take care of admin and he can run operations. But yeah, there's a lot of expertise out there, especially locally for us. And I've got my source for one right now.
All right. Any other questions?
Cool. Thanks, Johnny.
All right. Thanks, Sander. Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
And I hope maybe with the questions, you guys had enough time to fill out the form. And so Sean, you're next. Doug, do you want to put Sean's scoring guide in the chat? Oh, there it is.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Are we ready? Are you ready,
Yeah.
Sean?
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I'm Sean. Some people call me Seanold for fun. So I'm the proprietor of a mobile food wagon in Trinidad. We serve birria style tacos, and we really pride ourselves on keeping our menu simple. Also just sourcing as many ingredients as we can from local farmers and ranchers in Colorado and northern New Mexico. And I think keeping the menu simple is a good business model for us starting out. And it's also good for our customers because it ensures that they're going to receive a consistent product every time that they eat our food. Next slide, please, Don. So the market environment, currently, to my knowledge, the competition would be half a dozen mobile food units operating this year, give or take. I know that they really like to frequent special events, and that's basically because of a lot of the local laws and restrictions, and I'll touch more on that as we go along. But one thing that we would like to tap into a little bit more is there's no street food culture at all, and the citizens of Trinidad are outdoorsy and nightlife oriented. Also, people just don't have very many options in an underserved community like Trinidad, and so I think anything new is definitely people get excited about. So next slide, please. So our target customers in a town that has around 30 marijuana dispensaries, there's a lot of hungry employees. Also, there's a lot of restaurant workers who get off later and they want to eat something besides McDonald's or Taco Bell. I mean, I know we're serving tacos, but it's different. I think it appeals to everybody. Like I said before, I mean, people just want more options. I think having dietary options as well for people is become a thing for us, because there's more people than I thought there would be that want to have vegan and vegetarian options, that don't want to eat meat. So next slide, please. So my 4 Ps. I really like to hang my hat on finding everything as locally as I can. Mostly Colorado proud. companies. We have two of the worst grocery stores probably in the state in Trinidad, I would say, and buying food from them is just, it's just not an option. Our price range is pretty reasonable, I would say. You know, you can just get a single taco if you want, do a full order. And I think the placement, we really want to take the steps with local government and start a conversation, not only for us, but for the other mobile units that are licensed, and do things legally, because technically right now it's illegal to park on city streets. And so I think that that's a big thing for us. You know, I mean, we'd like to be the pioneers of getting outdated legislation changed. So next slide, please. So most of our marketing, I think, and Don touches on this a lot. It's a town that runs off of it's a paper-friendly town. So getting flyers out to other small local businesses with, you know, just a short thing about who we are, about our menu, is very helpful. And I think QR codes are the huge thing right now. And our stickers and our business cards have that right on there, and it'll take you and show you our current location and our current hours. Social media, Facebook, Instagram's been big. So, and word of mouth. I think my biggest thing, number one, is you just have to have, your food has to be good. And I think, you know, word of mouth in a small town, if your food's not good, people aren't going to come back, and you're not going to last very long. And so consistent execution is very important to us. So next slide, please. The big rocks. So me and my partner, this is Donkey. The proper food supply chains, as I mentioned, it's pretty tough with the two worst grocery stores in Colorado. So that's having those relationships with local farmers and growers, and then where, I mean, the streets would be ideal. I mean, we have a perfect setup to you know, not get in anybody's way. We just don't, you know, we don't want to be hassled and feel like we're doing anything illegal in our own town. And obviously special occasions and private events have been pretty good for us starting out. But like I mentioned, you know, there's a lot more competition at those, because the other licensed units, that's where they frequent. So next slide, please. So a day in the life, or 2 days in the life of kind of what we're doing now is obviously finding the location and booking an event, locating and purchasing the appropriate amount of product for that event, which has been a bit of a struggle, just because there's no consistency to what we're really doing at the moment, and that's why we're really pushing to change the laws so that we can have consistent hours and have a consistent location. So acquiring the supplies, you know, we spend a lot of time traveling to Raton, traveling to Pueblo, to Denver, and so it does take up a lot of our time. And so just narrowing in on cutting back on gas costs and just scrambling is very frustrating. But and then executing the food, it takes us 2 days to do what we're doing. And I have some relatives, and they call it special occasion tacos. And it's true. I mean, it's not like your average, let's just throw some ground beef in a pan and we're done in 15 minutes. And those are fantastic. I still probably eat that once a week, but this takes us 2 days to even make one taco. And so once we're finished cooking and we're headed out for an event, we have a very comprehensive checklist. There's a lot that goes into a food truck, and you know, we need to make sure that we're not going to run out of gas for our generator, or gas for our car, tire pressure, make sure that our water pump's fine, our hand washing, our hot water heater isn't going to zap out on us. So lots of things, and the checklist is very, very helpful. And then when we're headed out, we just we try to do a really good job on Instagram, and we try to do a good job on Facebook, and on the maps, Google and Apple Maps, we try and change our pin location so it updates within 15 minutes, and people can hopefully track us down. And then back to the most important thing is just executing consistently every time, so that, I can't tell you how many times I eat somewhere in Trinidad and it's good one day, and then you kind of go back and it tastes a little bit different, and it's disappointing. So I strive for just every single time you eat our food, it's gonna taste the same, and it's gonna be the most consistent quality that it can be. So, and then, if people enjoy it, asking for a review. Just because we're just starting out, I really, reviews are important, and not all just 5-star reviews. I mean, honest feedback is good. So next slide, please, Don. So this one I'm pretty proud about. So our startup costs, luckily not everybody had savings. I mean, I was lucky enough to pretty much spend all of my savings, but food trucks are not cheap. And so I spent a lot of sleepless nights just thinking, well, how can I build this myself? So I bought a flatbed trailer, and I researched and I got scrappy, and I just said, I'm just going to build it myself. And it saved us thousands of dollars. And I'm really proud of it. So, and also being a tipped employee, I just put that because, anytime, if you've ever worked in a day in a restaurant, in the front of the house, you're relying on the generosity of strangers. So it's a cruel world, but and that's why I put blood, sweat, and tears for the cost, because really, I mean, it took me 8 or 9 weeks to build a moving kitchen, and I'm really proud of myself that I did that. And it's not perfect, but it's good enough. So next slide, please, I think is the end. So yeah, I put a little time lapse of me building the little wagon that we have. So it's kind of it was nice to document it, and hopefully you guys will see us around and try a taco or two. So thanks for your time. Appreciate you.
Woohoo!
Thanks, Sean. And your tacos are delicious. So
Thanks.
everybody.
Thank you.
Sean, I wanted to circle back real quick too. Sorry. Oh my gosh, my dogs. You had mentioned that the grocery stores in Trinidad aren't that great. So what did you, sorry, and I apologize if you mentioned this and I missed it, but so how do you kind of combat, the less than stellar quality food being provided in the grocery stores to make sure that you're still providing the, like a tasty food and good quality food after you make it?
Sure. So I think pretty much the only thing that at the moment that we get from the grocery stores is just a garnish, which thank goodness that's decent enough. But we've been lucky enough to be pointed towards 2 or 3 really great ranchers who supply us with quite a substantial amount of quality beef twice a month. And so, I mean, that's hands down. I mean, it's some of the best meat that I've ever tasted. It's better than anything you find in a grocery store. And being able to support those people as well. And most times we try to put a little thing about where everything's coming from, just a little printout on the side of the truck if we can, just so people know it's I mean, give shout out to this company and this small business, and the beans are from here, the beef's from here, the tortillas are from here, the chilies are from Alamosa. So we've done a good job. I mean, it's been a lot of scrambling, and that's kind of what's been so frustrating is, you spend a whole day just trying to drive here and drive there just to find something, and then taking 2 days to cook. So you're scrambling for 3 days to be able to open for 2 days. So
Nice. No, it'll definitely come together. But I think that's awesome that you incorporate a lot of other local products and stuff like that. It's fantastic.
thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other questions? There's one in the comments. Wow, trucks are expensive. I monitored another food truck entrepreneur, or I mentored another food truck entrepreneur a couple of years back. I love that you built your own. Well done to you. That's a massive undertaking and looks fantastic. I'm a vegetarian, and you could convince me to try one of your meaty tacos. Good luck in your continued success. I guess it's
That's very, very nice. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, Sean, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Oops. Jaylene, you're next.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jaylene, owner and operator of Jay's Compassionate Care. I provide individualized personal private home care in the client's home. Next slide, please, Don. So my competitive market right now is basically Alta Vista Assisted Living, the Legacy, and the local nursing home. I think I fit in because my business is unique. I offer semi-skilled care and specialize in dementia. I provide 12 to 24-hour care in the comfort of their home. And I feel that it gives them more safety because it is individualized and they get to maintain in their home. Next slide. So right now, my ideal customer at the moment is the elderly individuals suffering from dementia and their family, because I need to make sure that my values and goals go along with the family's values and morals and their needs and wants, as well as their loved one. Eventually, I plan to steer away from that. My long-term goal is to buy a larger home and do like a 4-bed assisted living, which will not only be for dementia, but maybe intellectually, challenged people, retired or disabled, anyone that kind of needs a home that is not completely, how do I say this? It's not completely a nursing home, but feels more like their own home. It has the comfort and where they could just interact and kind of do what they want and feel like it is their home. Next slide. So right now I feel that I offer more personalized care to the client, and it's more one-on-one time and they get more time. And so I feel that their needs are met a lot more than being in a home where there's so many people and they need to, have a schedule that's kind of quick and they just kind of get dismissed. So I think right now I charge hourly rates for 22 up to 40 hours, and then anything over that is time and a half, because the families that I've worked with have stated that they would rather have someone that they know personally and develop a personal relationship with and pay them direct, because a lot of the facilities charge more and pay their workers, the employees, less. So a lot of the families said that they'd rather know who and what is going on and would rather pay directly to someone. Plus, I feel it's more, like I stated, attentive, reliable, ethical, and able to change as their needs change. And again, the comfort of their home, I believe, makes a huge difference. And their memory, I believe it helps their memory, being able to stimulate them back to saying, you know, look around, do this, that, since they tend to go back to their childhood in this state. Next slide. So my marketing tactic will be business cards, word of mouth, banners, letters of intent. And I've really been thankful because most of my work has been through word of mouth. It's just kind of been in direct flow from one to another when the individual passes on. And so it's been pretty constant. But like I said, that's why I need to focus on getting things up and running so that I could eventually do some type of assisted living facility where I could have employees and focus more on the administrative side of everything. So right now the big rocks are myself. I'm the only one and I am only one person, and there is a big demand for it, but I just cannot cover it myself right now. And the monetary is what I'll need, you know, to help getting my own place for them. Certain equipment that's needed, like wheelchairs or lifts or stuff like that, and skill, because it takes a certain type of individual and you need to continue ongoing training. Especially if you specialize in certain types of care, like with dementia, you know, there's more to it than just saying, oh yeah, this is what I do. You have to have knowledge on it and have experience with it. So it's continuously an ongoing learning experience. And right now I provide it in their home. Next slide, please. So typically when I go in the morning when they're still asleep, what I do is make, you know, their weekly meal plans, get stuff, make sure they have the nourishment they need. Then the scheduling of showers and stuff, keep their hygiene up, their teeth, their, you know, just their everyday living that they need assistance with. Then I'll try to continue memory stimulation with them throughout the day, asking them, you know, what time is it? What day is it? And just kind of try to keep them active and going mentally as much as possible. Make sure that their safety is priority. Maintain skincare because they're not as active. And so that's a big thing to make sure, you know, you do visual observations, that there's no skin tears, that there's no, and make sure that they get rotated and up and moving as much as possible. Medication remindering, administering meds, and vitals are important at least once a day to make sure they're okay. And then just maintaining the charting. And when the next person comes in, just make sure to give that verbal report to them and keep everybody consistent and on the same page. Next slide. So right now, I need to get my business license established. I need the insurance. I'm eventually going to need my own equipment because right now the family provides the equipment for them. And my funding sources, I'm looking at loans, grants, personal savings. I believe right now I looked at the insurance, it'd be like $2,400 a year, I'm sorry. And equipment can cost anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000, and the business license I believe was $3,000. So I'm thinking with $10,000 it would be very sufficient startup cost for wholesale, other like personal protective equipment, gloves and chucks and bedding and linens and draw sheets and just different things that they'll need. That's it. Thank you.
Woohoo!
Does anybody have any questions?
I have one, Jaylene.
Okay.
I'm sure that working with, people with dementia and in all these other states can be pretty taxing on you as well. So how do you, maybe it's not, I don't know, I'm just imagining, but if so, how do you, how do you manage that? How do you kind of maintain your composure with all of that added weight?
I think, I'm thankful right now that the families kind of are the administrators and they have other people that they hire to come in, for the other 12-hour shift. It does get very tiring when they don't show up, and my boundaries sometimes I need to work on, because there's been times where I've ended up staying, 48 hours at times, if not more. And it does get to be exhausting, but then I just make sure that I do my self-care when I do have my time off, and just I love nature, and I will go to nature or go for a ride on my bike, or just, make sure that self-care, you need to be very self-aware and make sure that you're taking care of yourself as well, because you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you need to just maintain the balance.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I agree.
Are there any other questions?
I think there was a comment in the chat.
There's
Okay.
a comment in the chat. I'll let you read that. But that's not a question. I was wondering about the license, 3,000. Is that for the home that you want to start? Because like your regular business license isn't that much.
No, that's just to have, it has to go through the state of Colorado. I looked up that it's through the Colorado DORA and Health Department regulations that you need to have a licensing. It's an application form that you have to fill out through them to be registered basically with the state. I found that out just doing research recently. I was not aware of that as well. That was one of the things we had discussed, is, the legalities of everything. And so, but to start an assisted living, the license will be, it's 8,000 for that for the first year. But then after the first year, it goes down every year to keep it renewed.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yes.
All right. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, Jennifer, I'm going to pause for just a second because Jen said she sent me a photo that she intended to put in her
I forgot my photo.
I didn't get it. It didn't come through.
Even better.
So let's just go forward, and then if you
Yeah, let's just run with it.
can show it at the end. How about that?
That's fine. That works. Let's see. Okay. I'm Jennifer McCowan, and I'm the proprietor out here in Trinchera, Colorado. Next slide, please. My competitive market is actually conveniently pretty small. There's 3 Airbnbs within a 25-mile radius, and they're actual on Airbnb, not wannabe Airbnbs. One's in Honey, one's in Branson, and one's in Folsom, New Mexico, which is really only a half hour from here.
Jen, I'm going to interrupt you for just a second. There's people on here who aren't in our program. So do you want to tell them briefly what you're doing?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So I bought part of a ghost town, and I have the gas station, which we'll get a picture of here in a few. I've got the old post office that opened in 1889. And I own 2 acres with that. And I also have a wood building hotel saloon from the late 1800s. And so what I'm going to do is I live on the Trans-American Trail. I live on the Goodnight Loving Cattle Trail and the Poncho and Lefty Trail out of the Little Blue Book that is local. And so I live at the confluence of all 3 of those. And so I have people coming by here on motorcycles, coming by here on bicycles, all sorts of different forms of transportation. And so in Canton, Oklahoma, there is a campground mercantile Airbnb. She has several cabins. She has half of one city block that's her mercantile, half of another block that is her cabins and motel. I'm kind of modeling after that. Mine's going to be different, obviously, but I like what she's doing. I like that she has the little store and so on and so forth. Next slide, please. My 4% ideal customer is the dual sport motorcycle riders, because I live and own property on the Trans-American Trail, like I stated. It borders the entire north length of my property. Oops. I was approached by riders right after I bought this property. They caught me out front here and asked me what I was going to do with the post office that was now closed. And so they suggested that I do some sort of lodging out here because there just is none. You see the 3 competitors. And so we had, several conversations about it. And the final comment made to me was, if you were open tonight, we'd be staying here. So that's how this kind of came about. Next slide, please. My 4 Ps are overnight lodging in a historic Colorado ghost town. The price that I have in mind, obviously this can change. I'm thinking $95 a night for the post office, $45 per night for a camper that I have out here. And then obviously as it progresses, I'll have the campground and I'll establish my different fees for different services. It's in Trinchera, Colorado, in the historic U.S. Post Office building. Come visit Colorado 100 years ago. Next slide, please. The actions I'm going to use to get the message out is an internet presence. I'm not going to post this thing wildly on Trinidad Chatter and all sorts of places, because I am the sole proprietor. I have to do this alone. So the second thing I'm wanting to do is the Trans-American Trail maps. Sam Carrillo is the guy who developed that trail. It runs east to west from Virginia to I can't remember where it ends in the west. I'm sorry. But I'm able to be put on his maps as a stop. And so I'm working on finding out what that entails, what that involves. I don't think it's a monetary commitment, but it just, I'm here and this is what's happening. And so I'm networking currently with Tarantula Cycles, although I haven't been down there to talk to them in a minute. I do have their cards. I've got them out front in a box. What I have out front is, it's a box that I bought for $6 at a thrift store, and I keep a guest book in it. This is the guest book. People who ride through sign as they go. They can write whatever they want. If they don't want to write anything, don't. I have people out there that write in sidewalk chalk because I threw that in the box. I've got maps of New Mexico, maps of Colorado, the trail book, other certain maps. I can't say the other one. Santa Fe trail maps. And I have another map out there that's Los Animas County, and I mark on all of them, you are here. So it's crystal clear where you're at. So next slide, please. The big rocks that I'm coming across, again, I'm sole proprietor. So if anything happens to me, this is game over. But that's always been the case. That's just how I live. So the post office space needs to be finished. That'll be finished by me. I have some of the paint and things. I have some other materials. I deal in antiques. So I have all of the furnishings. I have all of the antiques and things that I'm getting for the place. I want to furnish it with late 1800s, early 1900s stuff. I have another round of things coming from the auction this week. I'm buying postal scales and just kind of ephemera that would show up in the U.S. Post Office from long ago. And so the where is this is my property on Trinchera in Colorado. Next slide, please. My operations cycle. The online presence is the first thing I'll have to establish and start working with reservations. The cleaning of units is going to be a routine thing. I want to communicate with guests regularly and more on a personal basis. I can just run out the front door and, hey, what do you need? How can I help you? And also need to update web pages and calendars, maintain a good online, like I said, the online presence before. Excuse me.
Uh-oh, Jennifer, I think you just froze.
Yeah, she froze for me too.
Can you hear
in
us?
this afternoon, but that's how this goes.
Jen,
And
you froze for a second. So do you want to start back over after
where'd you
clean?
catch me?
I think communications with guests is where you froze.
Wow, I did, didn't it? Okay, lost my train of thought. Give me 2 seconds. I want to be able to communicate with the guests on more of a personal level, you know, rather than it just being all on the internet. You never see the girl who owns this place. I don't want that kind of thing. I want to go out here and play a game of horseshoes with them, you know, and if they want to be left alone, more power to you. That's okay too. And so upgrade web pages and calendars, that kind of goes with the online presence. You know, it's all kind of the same animal. Maintenance is going to be done by me. Some of it I'm going to have to sub out. What I started to say was this morning, actually not this morning, but sometime in recent history, I blew the pressure tank on my well inside the house, not at the well. So I had Folsom Well over here today. That's the first thing I've ever had to sub out here. But yeah, I spent $3,000 from this morning. So the next thing I'll be doing purchasing supplies. And that's something that I can do in my time, whether it be Walmart, whether it be the internet online. Maybe I go to Pueblo. I do have connections with some of the farms out east of Pueblo, Muso, Morro, Di Tomaso, so on and so forth. So it may be that I can bring fresh produce down here. You know, I don't know what it'll evolve into, but it will. And then I know at some point in the game, paying taxes are involved. And Don and I had a brief conversation the other night about how that happens. Next slide, please. Excuse me. The major costs that I've identified with the marketing and operations plan includes 2 new windows. When I bought
Oh, you froze again. I don't know if she can hear us. That's the one problem is the internet out there's a little spotty sometimes.
I wonder when she gets back, maybe camera off.
Oh, yeah. Let's see if she comes back. All right, maybe we just keep.
I'm here.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, I just went for a second. We'll see. Okay, so marketing materials.
You might try going camera off so you're not using quite so much bandwidth.
Do what? Do it with the camera off?
Yeah, sometimes it helps.
All right. I don't know the difference, so sure. Let's see. Marketing materials. I'm thinking about business cards. The realtor guy that was in there talking to us the other night, I like how he's got his little setup up on the truck up there. And I've got some options. I can do similar things around here. State licensures. I'm not yet educated on what they involve and what they entail. So I put $100 because I simply don't know. And I just want to be able to account for something until I can establish what it'll be, totaling $1,500. And the funding source is the RMFI grant. Everything else I have, I own the house, I own the property, I'm good to go. Next slide, please. And there we are.
Thank you so much. Does anybody have any questions? There's a lot of comments in the comment.
What was I did have one quick question actually. You mentioned it during marketing. What is the one, I don't know exactly what it was, something in Trinidad that you said you weren't going to work with? And sorry, what was the reasoning behind that? I'm just curious.
What are we referring to?
I think talking about you weren't going to do chatter.
Oh, I wasn't going to do, yeah, I don't want it to be so big that I can't maintain it. And I feel like if I were to go on some of the more common web pages in Trinidad, chatter, 411 info, these kind of things, and start advertising, it could really outgrow itself and overwhelm me. And it's
Gotcha.
me.
Oh, that makes total sense. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions?
And does the post office need a lot of work to be done before it opens, or is it just a few things?
It needs The two windows, and they're huge windows. They're probably, I don't know, 6 foot tall, 4 foot wide without measuring. It needs paint. I've got the whole place scraped. And right now I'm storing some furniture in there. I need to move that stuff back out and get back on where I left off. Like I say, it's scraped, so I just need to primer it, paint it, put the windows in. I'm gonna have to facilitate bathrooms somehow. I'm grandfathered in on an outhouse that I have out here, but that's not everybody's cup of tea. So I'm gonna come up with some kind of bathrooms, things like that. It may be a composting toilet. I don't know what the solution will be yet, but I've looked into a few different things for that. So
That's cool. I'm excited to see everything, to start going.
right on. Thank you.
Yeah, and Jen, is your trailer already, is it ready to go to be rented? Is it?
No, it's just an old hoopty tent camper. It's like an 89. I bought it because it's clean and it's huge. It's got 2 queen beds on either side. You know how those fold out?
Yeah.
Right. So it could accommodate, I get people through here in groups of anything from 1 or 2 to 5 or 6. So
how much do you have to do to get, maybe you could just start with the trailer and then you could at least attract people and then you could tackle the post office later.
And that may very well happen.
Hmm.
Yeah, that may
Awesome.
very well happen.
We're gonna have a class out there so we can check this place out. I think we're all see it.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
I agree.
The population of the town is 5.
That's awesome.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good job. Oops.
Hey
All right.
guys.
This is the other Jen.
Hi. Yes. Hi. Okay, so my name is Jennifer. I am the owner of Suds in a Bucket Cleaning Services, LLC, located here in Trinidad, Colorado. I do not necessarily have a website or social media set up as of yet. I'm working on that. It's basically we focus on Airbnbs, vacation homes, private residences, commercial spaces, and basically anywhere that we're needed, we focus on. So next slide. Okay, so I am one of 4 companies here in Trinidad that focus on the same area of expertise as I do. I started working in this field a year and a half ago. I was a partner in a company and that did not work out in my favor. So I kind of just decided to branch out on my own. I didn't want to give it up entirely because I really love cleaning. It's really a stress reliever for me. And I really like to help people anywhere I can. That's kind of my main focus, is if I can make your day easier, your life easier, then I'm all about it. I have 1 employee. It is me and 1 other person. And I'm paying $15 an hour starting out. And that's basically with no experience. Once you start gaining experience and I don't feel like I have to more or less shadow them anymore, then the pay goes up. Because then I can be focusing on my stuff, doing another unit, doing another home while they're at a different home, and the pay goes up. There are a couple other companies, but a lot of them focus more or less on carpets or upholstery or biohazard type of thing, crime scene cleanup. Me, I'm not that person. I'm just there to clean your house and make it look good. Next slide, please. My 4% is large working families. I work with a lot of families that, they're actually business owners here in town. And they have big homes because they had big families. And now their kids are moved out or they are in college. And they just I don't think they realize the outcome of having a big home. Retired couples is another one. People like those that can't really get around or get down on their hands and knees anymore to scrub the floors. Like, I'm there. And then I love working with Airbnbs and vacation homes. Like, that is the best for me. You kind of tend to get into a routine, and it really makes things a lot easier. And you also build relationships with the owners. And I think that that's amazing. I've really been blessed as far as with the owners that I do work with. We've all developed an amazing friendship. And they call me when they need me. And, if there's ever a time where I need something from them, then they're always right there to be my support. Next page. I use all like pet friendly supplies, allergen free supplies. I never want to cause issues in their health or in their pet's health. A lot of the people in Trinidad have animals. And so it is important to weigh that into perspective while I'm cleaning. All my general cleans start at $100, and then they work their way up based upon more bedrooms. And my deep cleans start at $200, and that's for a basic 2-bedroom. And then usually I do $50 extra bedrooms beyond that. And then I always try to provide my services to them within 7 days. With the Airbnbs, it kind of throws my schedule out just a little bit. It makes things kind of wishy-washy for me, which I'm trying to find balance for. But I will always try to get them in my schedule within the first 7 days after I do a walkthrough on their home. And I will always, my right message is I will give them the best price possible for the job that they have. I actually will, I may not be supposed to be doing this, but I do have the other ones that have companies in this town are also people I talk to. So, I kind of converse with them and I'm like, hey, so how much would you charge to do this? And I kind of get a little bit of insight, and then I always underbid it. So, but I do a great job, and I try to always make sure to have an eye for detail. Next page. So I actually just ordered some uniforms and shirts with my logo and info on the back, and it'll have the little logo right here. It'll have my phone number. It'll have the name of the company, and then how they can locate me on the back. And then a referral-based program. So I know I've talked a little bit about this, but I really want to get a referral-based program. I have got all my business so far off word of mouth and off of referrals from other people. And so I think the referral-based program with incentives would be a great way to put my name out there even more. A Google web page would be great. I'm working on that as well. That way they always have a way to find me. As far as the website goes, I want to get that established so that they can focus on, they can see my portfolios. They can pull up my references right there. They don't have to call and ask for them. They already have them. They can do their background checks, their work. And then once they feel comfortable, they'll just call me and schedule a meeting. And business cards and flyers. I'm also in the process of, I've already ordered those, and those are on the way. As far as the business cards go, flyers are more, I'm working on that. But then that way I can always pass those out and put those up in places that I think my 4% people would be in. So next page. So activity 1 is contact the owner of the property, or let them contact me. Another way I found a lot of my business is through Trinidad Chatter. A lot of people will post, hey, we need a house cleaner. I'm right there. I respond as soon as I see it. And then I contact them. I schedule a walkthrough with them at the property based upon the time that works best for them. And then I will always write a proposal, do a bid for them, something that looks professional. And then I do have contracts so that, and it's not like you have to be with me for a year, or I charge you this much. No, it's basically a thing that says that I'm coming into your home. I'm not coming there to steal. I'm not coming there to do anything but clean. I'm not there to be nosy, nothing. Like, your life is your life. And then the contract also states, just basically, if you can, give me a 30-day notice. If you can't use my services anymore, or if you don't want to use them anymore, or if you're moving, etc., please just let me know 30 days in advance so that I can make adjustments accordingly with my company. Buy all the needed supplies and arrange the meeting as far as to go and do the cleaning itself. There's always supplies that need to be bought, and depending on what they like, especially, I try to use what they're most comfortable with me using. Completing the clean is the next biggest step. That's what it all comes down to. Sending pictures. A lot of my clientele, like for the Airbnbs, are not in Colorado, or they're in a different part of Colorado. And so I will always send pictures to them of each and every individual room after the job is complete, so that they have document and I have document in case there's any issues that arise with the guest, or the guest tries to say, this wasn't done. I always have proof that it was. Get feedback from them at all times. And then lastly, collect payment and arrange reoccurring cleanings for them. Or the schedule that they have for their Airbnb. Next page, please. So the big rocks, it is me and one other person, like I mentioned. She's been with me since we started the company, and she's so involved. She's amazing. I'm so grateful for her. I'm the one that kind of goes out there and does the bids, establishes the clientele. She's just the muscle. I do need to, having transportation is huge, because if you don't have transportation, how are you going to haul around supplies? How are you even going to go be on time to places? And so that's a huge thing for me. I provide services at the client's home, or their rental or vacation property, and all the local businesses that I can. Next page. So I do already have business insurance, and that runs me about $1,400 a month annually. And so not bad, but that is something that I do need to weigh into perspective for sure. Vehicle, I put $2,000 because I figure a vehicle needs maintenance. Once a year, you're best to probably get tires and oil changes and yada, yada, so forth. So that's something that's very important to keep in mind. Vehicle insurance, it's important to have that if you're going to be driving. So I have averaged out that that's about $1,500 a month annually as well. I spend approximately $200 a month in supplies, so that's kind of why I put $1,200 right there. And so that averages out to $6,100 every year, which isn't bad. And I know there's more things that come up and are unexpected, but there's always a way to solve that. And company revenue is one that helps me through the hard times. Loans and capital funding would be very helpful. Personal investment, I started this by myself. It was all me when I started this. I was buying supplies, I was starting it up, I was taking care of the cost with the help of friends and family, of course. So next slide. And that's it.
Woohoo!
I feel like y'all showed me up just a little bit.
You did great, Jen. Don't worry.
Thank you.
I wanted to know, so for your portfolio, are you planning on doing like before and after pictures? Is that kind of what it's going to be like? Nice.
Yes. So like today, I've been working on a deep clean. Dawn knows. I've talked to her kind of through this a little bit. But I did a 4-bedroom, 3-bath deep clean.
Oh,
And
wow.
I took pictures before I started. I started it yesterday at like noon, 12:30. And I didn't leave until 8 last night. I
my
also went back to finish it this morning, and it took almost 4 hours for us to even finish. So I was estimating it to be about a 6-hour clean. Overall, it ended up being close to a 12 or 13-hour clean. I didn't like it. But so I did take pictures before, and I did take pictures after, and so that I can use those. Also, I love to go in. People are like, I don't like to get into places that are really bad. Me, I do, because I would rather them be really bad, so I have something to show in pictures for before and after.
Yeah, no, I love that. I think that's great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think there's a question in the chat.
There is a question in the chat, or I think it's more of a comment. So I'm going to let you kind of think about that one as some feedback, but I think we're going to move on because we still have a few people to get through. So real good job, Jen. Thank you so much. And then Kevin, you're next.
Hi, everybody. My name is Kevin Castro. I am the owner of Xeriscapes Trinidad LLC, and I service Trinidad, Colorado. I have a website. I have Facebook and Instagram, and my phone number displayed here. I run a landscaping business called Xeriscapes Trinidad, and 10 years of experience in landscaping. I found this thing, Xeriscaping, which is it is landscaping, but with water-wise plants, pretty much drought tolerant plants that don't need too much water. So instead of grass, we're turning it into a landscape that's better for the environment and saves people money on water.
Kevin,
And yeah, that's what I do.
Kevin, you might want to go.
Next slide, please.
Kevin, you might want to go camera off because your internet's jumping around a little bit. Did you hear me? Hello?
I think we lost you, Kevin.
Let's see. Oops. Oh, he just fell off completely. Let's move on to the next one. And then when he joins back, we can start him again. All right. So Alicia, you ready?
All right, let me put Alicia's scoring sheet in the chat real quick.
Sorry, we'll come back to Kevin when he can rejoin us.
Okay, we're good.
All right, Alicia, you ready?
Yes, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
I am at work, so I know I have terrible Wi-Fi, so I am going to try and stay off camera. If something does happen to my Wi-Fi, I'm going to try and get on my phone and get right back on too. But my business is Palmero's Carniceria, and it's going to be a butchery too, hopefully, as soon as I get a brick and mortar. I am Alicia, and hopefully we will be out here soon, and we are hoping to see everybody soon. We make anything that you would see in a traditional carniceria. We will also have any of the traditional, how would you put it, products that you would find in a carniceria, piñatas, candles, blankets, anything that you could think of. We are very unique because there's literally nothing like this around us for at least 100 miles away, and it's very untapped potential here in this town. My market as of right now should be the larger families in the town. I'm expecting that I will be selling up to 3,000 tacos per week minimum when I get into my brick and mortar. But for now, I am going to be out on the streets with a cart, basically like a paletero, an ice cream man. And I'm going to be selling as many tacos as I can until I get that brick and mortar. But as soon as I get that brick and mortar, I'm hoping to sell 3,000 tacos a week minimum. We know that there will be other competitors in this town. There are other mobile food trucks in this town that have more than we do at the moment. There are other restaurants in town that are trying to do certain things with their food that fall into the carniceria placing. So we're trying to figure out how to make it better and more feasible for people. Next slide, please. Like, oh. Next slide, I think, after that. Yeah, okay, so our target customers will be the large families. We're going towards the Hispanic communities, of course, because this will be traditional Hispanic and Mexican food. And we want to learn more about our business, so we really want feedback from people, and the criticism will be taken into consideration, believe me. Next slide, please. Okay, my 4 Ps in my message is going to be that if I put my head to it, it will happen. And that if I don't get lazy, all of us, as in me and the community, we can have it all. I am always open-minded and always eager to learn new things from people. And we are always trying to learn new things, always. I will never judge any type of criticism you have for me or my food, no matter what. You could always be on the same page as long as you communicate with me. I don't ever want anybody to leave my establishment or my cart even unsatisfied or hungry even. We want to be where you're at always. I want to be at your wedding. You know what I mean? I want to be catering for your social events, your private events, your public events, everything. I want to be there for you for Christmas and Thanksgiving, whatever it could be. Me and my family want to be there for yours. We've always wanted to make sure that we pride ourselves on being local and that everything is fresh and made to order. So even if it takes a little bit more time than, you know, McDonald's, we are going to have some good food for you. Next slide, please. My marketing action plan, my map. This is what I had to get into and think about a lot because I don't know a lot about this stuff. So when I put it together, I ended up losing the original PowerPoint, so I had to make this last minute. So this is what I could remember from it. We want to be at every local event possible. That's not just here in Trinidad. We want to be all throughout the state. We're going to be in Pueblo, Colorado Springs, Denver, the state fairs, anything we can get into, like the rodeos, everything, the concert. We're going to try and be there for everybody, but we're going to stay here in Trinidad loyally because we want everybody to know where we came from, and we want people to know, the locals to know that we have a lot of gratitude for them, and we want them to be able to know that. So we are going to be doing like punch cards for the locals, and free shirts, drawings, raffles, and prizes. And I was thinking about doing bingo maybe once a week at my location. And I wanted to try and get my name out there by the word of mouth. I mean, radio, I don't really do social media, so I'm going to try and get into that, try and get a social media page going. I'm going to get banners and flags, and we're trying to get on the radios and newspapers, everything. And the last thing I could promise to my community that I will stay true to myself and them. So next slide, please. This picture on the back is something that I have personally cooked. I've been in the culinary industry for about 7 years now, going on 8 next year. I really love to cook. It keeps me sane, honestly. It's my muse. Right now, my big rocks are that I am homeless. I need a stable living environment, first and foremost. I need a mobile unit. That would be great. You know, those are expensive. And then hopefully in the future, I want to get a brick and mortar establishment. And I would like to get some licenses and permits immediately so that I can get out there and push this out as fast as I can and get the community on the same page with me. So you guys don't think I'm just talking, you know, I want to be there for you guys. It's going to take a lot of time and a lot of money. And I'm pretty sure there's another bullet at the bottom that you can't see, but it says education. I need to be educated to do this, and I'm trying to be as much as I can. My operation cycle, like I said, I am currently homeless, and I am on probation for a few more years, which means I cannot leave the state. So that's why I'm focused on local products and produce so that I can get, so I don't have to leave the state and it's not so expensive and my gas isn't this, my gas isn't that. But I am in the process of turning my life around for anybody that needs to know that. I need to find a working and up-to-date mobile unit to be able to expand and push forward my business. Eventually, a brick and mortar establishment for more business will be established. I do need to get into the legal aspects of all of it, the licenses, the permits, the lawyers, the banks, the accountants. But I need to get to the small things first, the licenses and the permits. And like I said, the education, I need to do my homework and research and go back to college for culinary some more and try and get people that know more about my heritage and culture to teach me more things about it so I could show the community. Next slide, please. My capital needs. As I recently discussed, I have a very few detrimental needs and necessities to start up my business. The mobile unit, like I said, I could use it as a home. I could double it as a home if I have it. If I'm in it enough, my car truck would be basically lived in anyways. A good mobile unit is about $30,000 minimum for up to date, you know, with the heaters and the coolers and things in it. And like I said, this is the example versus how I'm doing right now. I'm going to be starting in a cart with a few coolers, and I'm going to try and push it out there as fast as I can. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do and improve. Like I said, the education will take most of the time. I am looking towards money, grants, student loans, and scholarships for the education, which are pretty much so far into my favor. But for my business, I will be looking up into loans and paying out of pocket a lot and looking for grants. I know they have a lot of grants for businesses that want to start up for restaurants. But like I said right here, I will be saving a lot of my money. And it's really hard to learn how to save money as a 24-year-old female that's homeless because I have to pay out of pocket to live here and there. And it's kind of horrible to have to do that. And I'm going to learn how to save my money, and it's going to be my best friend, I promise. Next slide, please. This is my business card and one of my logos. These are also pictures of things that I have cooked. And this is how you can contact us. As I said, I did not have very many social media, so my phone number and my email, and we hope to see you there.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Alicia?
Yes, I have one. Okay, so whatever that was, it looked amazing, first of all. Was that eggs on there or was that chicken?
There was eggs. There was a breakfast taco.
Oh man, that looks so good. I need to come see you.
Any questions? All right, then let's move on.
And yeah,
Kevin,
I was going to say Kevin's back.
Right?
I think so.
All
Or we
right,
could try again.
let's try again. If you say camera off, it should help with your internet streaming.
Okay. I'll try that. All right. Is this where I left off here? Okay.
I think so.
So yes, there are 6 other landscaping companies in Trinidad. But I did not see that any of them offer xeriscaping specifically. There were others that specialized in fencing, driveways, and grass, which is the opposite of what I'm trying to do. And a lot of them don't have presence on social media. They don't have a website. And some of them don't call back or answer. And that's another thing that I hear a lot of people complain about here in Trinidad. And there is a landscaping supply company here, and they pretty much have everything from rock to mulch and soil. They don't have a lot of xeric plants available. Hopefully they see me doing my thing, because I talk to them a lot, so hopefully they'll be more inclined to get xeric plants. But that would be another thing I'm thinking about, is starting a small nursery. But that would just add a lot to my plate, so I'm trying to keep it simple, right? So next slide, please. So my 4% ideal customer, homeowners, because they have to own a property for me to work on. Busy people don't have the time to work on their own yards. I've had a lot of clients already that have hired me for that reason. Professionals, Joni gave me a great idea about professionals because they're busy. And elderly people, don't have the capability to do that kind of work anymore. And there's people who simply don't want to do it. It's, and it's something I like to do. I can get out there. I love being outside, being in the sun. So I'm happy to be there for them, whether they can do it or don't want to. Next slide, please. To that comment, yeah, there's actually, I talked to somebody about that. They're working on something like that for Trinidad, some sort of grant or incentive to convert lawns into xeriscape lawns. But yeah, that's something else. Oh, did I lose? Oh,
That was me.
I
Sorry.
don't. Okay. Cool. The 4Ps product is pretty much the main thing for converting your lawn
Oh,
is to save water.
sorry, I'm having challenges on my end. So apologize.
So the product is essentially saving you water, and also a beautiful landscape with the climate in mind. Because water is a resource that we need to be more mindful about using. I do offer it's average with the price, and I am looking into a more affordable option. Like I said, with the city may be working on something to allow grants for people to convert their lawns, which would be a really awesome thing, especially because it's a big expense. It's not an easy thing to just throw money at. So, see, I have all my information online. You can reach me through my website, my Facebook, Instagram, and I just thought of this today, talking to my mentor, LinkedIn, which has a lot of professionals, and I should really get that going. And I do a lot of networking already, just with the work I do, word of mouth. Events here in town are really big, social gatherings. I meet a lot of people, and just even through friends, a friend of a friend, they'll recommend my service. Let's see, and so the message would be to, I'm saving you water. I know people are concerned about the climate. They're concerned about the bees. So I am essentially helping you get away from the grass, from the monoculture, into a biodiverse landscape that helps the planet and your wallet. And I love what I do. I love being outside, and just being out there just is kind of a workout for me. So anything that helps me just build strength is very, very good. Next slide, please. All right, so my action plan here. So yeah, networking, going to events, social gatherings, is something I do already. I have business cards. The thing I need to do is QR codes. And I was thinking about putting QR codes on posters or flyers. That way I can actually have like work that I've done on there so they could see. But a lot of that's already on my Instagram, so they can see that. And I can get people's phone numbers so that I have the ability to contact them instead of waiting for them to contact me. And having a sign while working on someone's lawn. I can work with the customer to have a sign with my logo and my phone number while I'm converting their lawn, and people who are driving by, their neighbors can see it, and they can find out who I am and get a hold of me. Next slide, please. All right, so the big rocks, it's just me right now. I do plan on expanding as time goes by. At least hiring one person to help me do the work. Eventually to hiring a bookkeeper. And I started with the shovel, and I acquired a rake, and then just adding as I acquire funds, I just start buying more tools that kind of make the job easier and more efficient. And yeah, it goes from meeting people, and then if it comes to it, we work on their properties. It's pretty much just all in Trinidad for the moment. Yes, next slide. So, for social events and networking, I do need time to recharge. I consider myself an introvert, so that's just something that I need to, like, self-care is a major thing when you're trying to run your own business. I'm trying to move oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, so social media is another big thing because a lot of people are on Instagram and Facebook. I find myself, just when I'm bored, opening the app. So it's just what people do these days. But also like replying to comments. That's a big thing with boosting your algorithm. So you got to kind of know how social media works to be able to get more people to see your post. Let's see. So estimates, I do estimates and I set up appointments with the customer. That's just a major part of my job. Finding the time to, because they're busy and we have to find like a time that works for both of us. I do the design and measurements of the property. So when I get down to the design, I go out on the property, kind of kind of do a sketch of what I see in my mind. And then I show that to the customers, see what they think, and we work together on, customers have specific needs if they want a lounge, etc. And so after that, I follow up on the sale. I reach out to the customer. I make sure I have their phone number. I show them the plan and how much it's going to cost. And then if they agree to it, I do the work to install the WaterWise lawns. And I have been slowly building up my tools. I'm inclined to more battery operated equipment too as well. Just because I don't want to deal with gas or oils and all that stuff. And then number 7, I do books. I do it all myself right now. I have a computer. I had a computer. I'm gonna figure that out here. And I have an office space too in my house. It's so that's very much needed. And then I do the maintenance. So I make sure my tools are good. I have to decide whether I want to do battery or gas. But yeah, just maintaining tools, cleaning the truck, stuff like that. Next slide, please. So yeah, capital needs. I actually pulled from my savings to buy a truck. The truck makes everything a whole lot easier. I have needed a tiller, and I'm thinking about adding that to my tool shed here. It's not too expensive. Like a credit card would help me buy stuff like that, pay off over time, instead of buying. I know a tiller probably costs like $500. And so sorry I didn't write a total here. The truck was 4,000. Tiller's probably 500. I want to supply my own mulch, just because there's not a source or like that much of an easy source for wood chips that's not dyed or processed in any kind of way. That'll probably be another 500. And insurance is about $160 a month. I did not do the math for this. 5,000, about $6,000 to $7,000. So we'll give or take on that. But yeah, that's my business. You can find me here. There's my phone number. And yeah, that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Woo! Sorry, Kevin, about my technical difficulties. I couldn't write in the chat and navigate this at the same time. It wasn't working for some reason.
That's all right.
Technical challenges. Does anybody have any questions for Kevin? No? Okay, let's move on. All right, we already did Alicia, and I think we have 2 more. Megan, and then wait, did I put Jared's in here? Yeah, you're last. All right, sorry, Megan, you're not last. I have it backwards. Mutiny's next.
Hi, I'm Megan. I am the owner of Mutiny Trinidad LLC. We are a small batch coffee roaster, bookstore, event space, and community gathering place. Here in Trinidad, we are committed to offering local artisan goods and offer wholesale coffee that is locally roasted. Next, you saw all my social stuff. So the market environment, this county, our county, and Huerfano counties are up and coming in a number of different aspects, but specifically with outdoor recreation. I feel that people who have the money to buy outdoor recreation accoutrement tend to have a higher price point for what they are willing to spend on certain things, and often look for a higher quality product or local product. We also have new younger population moving into the area who are coming from larger cities and are used to maybe more artisan and are also interested in local products. There are 3 other coffee shops in Trinidad proper, but we are the only ones roasting coffee. And then tourists are a big part of our town's economy. And so, again, I just want to be able to cater to people who are looking for a small town vibe without having to deal with some of the other stuff that comes with small towns, like maybe not having the greatest products or local products. My 4% ideal customer, we do offer wholesale coffees. So I think the biggest one will be restaurants, cafes, and local markets in Los Animas, Huerfano counties, as well as Raton. Airbnb properties in Los Animas and Huerfano counties. We provide K-cups, reusable K-cups. A lot of properties like that have a Keurig, and you usually get just old, gross coffee that comes in something plastic that gets thrown away. At Mutiny, you can buy a reusable one with our fresh coffee so that you have a local product that is fresh in your Airbnb for your clients. 20% of our population right now is under 25. And that is who we focus on for our in-house business. We have a lot of seating, and we have a game room, and it's for all ages, but it is specifically a spot for the youth. We have a lot of, again, just people who are moving into this area from bigger markets that are expecting a little higher quality product and a unique environment.
No, wait, am I going the wrong way?
The 4 Ps product, house roasted coffee available for wholesale, ample seating, event space, novelties, music. We have a very unique in-store environment. We are slightly higher than our direct competition in pricing, which is Purgatory. It is across the street from us, but we are lower than the Starbucks in the Safeway. However, our product quality is higher, in my opinion, than both places. And then I try to keep all of our grab and go and retail merch at affordable prices, specifically so that the local community can have access to them. You can come into Mutiny with $5 and leave with a coffee. Any kind of coffee you want, the size varies. Placement, I don't know why. The placement, I don't know why I have it like that. Anyway, is our store in-house. We have a counter. Let's walk up right when you walk in. That is where we have our coffee bags for you to take home, like whole beans. And yes. And then the promotion, I put how I was going to promote, but the right message, and one that I have utilized in my social media several times, is meet me at Mutiny. That is what I'd like people to think about when they think about Mutiny, is that it is a place for the community to gather. Okay, next slide, please. Marketing action plan. I am talking with the Trinidad Chronicle to have an article about this business now being locally owned and operated and available for wholesale. Number 2 is targeted social media ads, specifically people who are into outdoors and gravel biking in particular, because that is such a prevalent part of our tourism. Google ads targeted at at a radius around us going into perhaps Texas and New Mexico, because we have so many people coming through there. And again, people who are interested in outdoor activities. And then the fourth one is to flyer the college. We offer student discounts all day, every day. And I'd really like the students to know that. Next one, please. The Big Rocks, so I do have 3 employees, but I am the owner. I have Tegan, who is our master roaster, and I have Dave, who does general PR and our hype man. The what? Green coffee beans, manpower, meaning the employees, dry goods and equipment, specifically the roaster, where in-house, online, in person, and selling in person while selling to other cafes or mercantiles or whatnot. This is kind of big picture operation cycles because it's me. Ordering inventory obviously is a huge one. Equipment maintenance, we need to, especially again on the roaster, it gets fully cleaned and checked and oiled and all of that stuff at least once a week. We need drink quality and consistency to always be there. That's the best way for us to ensure that we get repeat customers. Again, staff is a huge part of the operation cycle. We are open from 8 to 8, 7 days a week. It's not something I can do alone. I need the manpower. We have our point of sale system, QuickBooks for accounting and payroll. I do all of that myself currently, but QuickBooks has people that help with that. I think a big part of the operation cycle and something that can be lacking here is consistent hours of operation. So we really do try to be open 8 to 8, 7 days a week. And then the next thing is marketing, more effective marketing. And until recently, we didn't have a manufacturing license. So the wholesale marketing is going to be a big part of our operations going forward. Next slide. So I did already purchase this for $70,000. So that's kind of where that number came from. But the equipment costs, the payroll, staffing costs, the inventory, specifically green beans, is our biggest expenditure monthly. Rent, taxes, insurance. The overall cost minus the taxes, insurance, and stuff is about $70,000. Funding sources will be grants, loans. I have a payment plan with and a personal loan that I've taken out. And then because I am operational, sales revenue. And that's us, Mutiny Trinidad, right here on Main Street.
Good job, Megan. Hey, I can't write in the chat. So one thing is, if you want the newspaper, and this goes for all of you, to write something about your business, write it yourself and send it to them. Because they don't have the staff to send people out to you. Keep it under like 300 words, or ask them how long they want it. And if you write it yourself, they might change it, but it just gives them a head start and it's more likely to get published.
Nice. That's great, because they haven't been great about getting back to me. So that's good.
And you probably don't want Ben writing it for you.
Yeah. Okay. Good feedback. Thank you.
You can even just write them a press release that tells exactly what you want them to say.
Sure.
And probably the best way to do it, because they're not going to give you the time to go write an article about you. Just food for thought.
Okay. Good idea.
If any of you want to help on writing press releases, I don't know about the Chronicle, but in general, I've written quite a few and gotten a lot of press, so I can help. Any other questions? No? Did everybody just, no, nobody froze, it's just me. All right. Good job, Megan.
Thank you.
All right, Jared, you are the last one. Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah. All right, so Jared Dustup is my working title right now for my handyman company that I'm starting. I am the owner and operator and focused on Trinidad, specifically in Los Animas County. That's my phone number, and website will be up and running later. Next slide, please. So the competitive market out here is actually a little bit hard to gauge because there's a lot of seemingly defunct either websites or Facebook profiles for handy people. So I did find 8 to 10 handy people / carpenters that seem to be up to date and running. And there's probably more that don't have an online presence, as I think most folks here know. A lot of things in Trinidad seem to operate on secret handshakes, word of mouth, somebody knows somebody kind of thing. So it's a little hard to gauge. But a lot of them do seem to be, kind of similar to me in that there's single employee or proprietors. And then there's some small companies as well. There are bigger contractors, but I don't think that that's really a competition to me, as I'm not doing that kind of larger business. And the market needs that I've kind of identified really from speaking with other folks that have had work done for them is consistency. There seems to be a lot of just miscommunication or the dropped balls, things like that. And then an online presence, like I just alluded to, it's really hard to find anybody that you can find out if they're operating, what their costs are, what services they offer, things like that. And so those are all market needs that I've identified that I think will set me apart. Next slide, please. So my ideal customer base would be, home and small business owners who have construction ideas, repairs that they need, and then they don't have the time or the know-how to do so. And one other thing that I think will set me apart and potentially add value for my customers is that I offer different levels of service. I will do complete start to finish, where I plan, I construct, I do everything. And then the customer just tells me kind of what they want. There's also labor assistance. Sometimes there's folks that know what they want to do, know how to do it, but they just need an extra hand. It's not a one-person job, and I can assist with that. And then there's consultation as well. So there's definitely folks that I've contacted or I've talked with who, they're like, I have this idea, I want to do this thing, I think I know how to do it. I want somebody to just help me check the boxes and make sure that I'm not doing something wrong or unsafe. So those are all three things that I will assist with. And they will have, varying levels of costs based on how involved I am. Next slide, please. So, my product is handyman and labor services. I don't just kind of stop at saying, I'm a handyman, I fix and build things. I will offer labor services as well. If somebody's just like, needs weeds pulled, needs trash moved, those are all services that I'll offer so that I'm just more multifaceted. And then my billing will be $30 an hour up to 10 hours. For projects that require more than 10 hours, it would be a flat fee that, is included in my bid so that the customer knows what they're getting into. And, labor costs don't just balloon on them because something takes more time or is more in depth than initially thought. As I said, I will work in Trinidad primarily in parts of Los Animas County. And then for promotion, because I'm starting out very small and I only have the time for, one project at a time, I'm going to use my work to establish my credibility. I'm going to do the job and let it speak for itself and ask my customers for reviews and referrals. So that way I can focus more on the quality than the quantity of the work. Next slide, please. In order to start getting some business, I will have business cards, so I'll have them in person, and then I'll ask local businesses if I can leave a stack of them there. And then small giveaway items just to kind of keep my business name in people's minds. So Something like fridge magnets with sports team schedules or some other small things, bottle openers, keychains, just little things to get people to remember me. And then I will have an Instagram and a Facebook in which I post, projects, and Facebook will be more oriented towards a landing page and services that I offer. And then on my website, I will have, services offered and some sort of pricing scale to at least let folks know about where things start. Everything will be kind of a case-to-case basis and hourly, but there will be some more information on there. And then I'll have an option for folks to book a consultation. I'll have a calendar that they can pick a time that works for them, that I'm available, and then I can meet them wherever their project is. Next slide, please. So the big rocks for me are going to be, I am the owner, operator, and the only employee. So I'm addressing all aspects of the business, which I think is in my benefit, because I'm going to work directly with the customer to make sure that their needs are heard and met, that I understand what it is that they're looking for and what they expect out of a finished product. I will be working, like I said, on site in Trinidad. I have the materials and tools. I'll be the one responsible for bringing those. I also have a garage and a workspace, so I can work off site. I can work on my own. If the customers say it's their house and it's outside and they're not available, I can work into the night, build things, and then I can bring them to the job site and have it prepped and ready for installation. Next slide. So my planned operation cycle will consist of, marketing. I plan on promoting within the community. I'm a member of the community. I like the community. I want it to grow and thrive. So it's really important that I'm working with members of the community. And then from initial consultation, this would be where I meet with the customer and kind of assess the project and what kind of timeline I think it's going to take, materials it'll take, so I can give them a rough idea of what we're looking at. And from there, I'll take that information and actually draw out a bid for them or a proposal. So this will be where I actually give them, the breakdown of costs and materials, drawings or plans, so that they understand what it is that I'm envisioning. And if once they accept that bid, that I'll move to a project phase planning where, I'll do my materials sourcing and work scheduling. So if I need materials delivered, or if I need to get them on a certain day, it'll just be much smoother to plan an operations flow versus, bringing every single thing to the job site on day one and having it sit around for days if I don't need it. I built a deck recently and got everything delivered at once and didn't need half of it for a week, and it just made a lot more of a mess. So I learned to go step by step a little bit better that way. And so after the planning phase, this is the work phase where I'm, going to construct or fix or whatever it is that I've been enlisted to do. Followed by a wrap up. So, just a final inspection, a walkthrough between, myself, if the customer wants to be there, absolutely. Just to make sure everything is as it should be, tie up any loose ends, and then just a cleanup of the job site, so that I make sure that I'm leaving things better than I got to them, and I don't leave anything behind, trash, materials, etc. And finally, a follow-up. This will be where I give the customer the final invoice for payment. I asked them for feedback, what they liked, if there's anything they didn't like, things that they think I could improve on. I don't know what I don't know, so I'm trying to learn from every experience as well. And then I'm going to inquire them about what the next project is. I really want to build a business that has a customer base, and I continue to work with folks. I don't want to just do the job, get paid, and leave. Like I said, I'm part of the community and I care about it. So I really want people to want to continue to work with me and build and grow. Next slide, please. So the capital needs that I've identified thus far are, while many jobs will have specific tools that I'll need to get, or rent. There's some larger fabrication items that would already be beneficial to me that would cut down on time and waste and stuff like that. And so a few larger things like a table saw, joiner, planer, etc. Those are about $2,500 roughly. And then materials is the next biggest capital that I'll need. At the moment, I can only front about $1,000 worth of materials before the customer has to step in and pay out of pocket for the remainder. And I'd really like to be able to do a little bit more of that, where I can give them one final invoice at the end, so they don't have to make different or multiple payments. And then finally, a trailer, just to be able to haul equipment and materials. It's right now I've identified a pinch point of having materials delivered. I'm on somebody else's schedule. If they don't show up on time, or they don't show up at all, or there's an issue, then that comes back on me, and it makes me look bad. So just having more in my hands that I can control is going to be a huge benefit. So I think that being able to get all my materials myself is going to be a huge bonus for me. And so the funding that I've kind of identified are grants and loans, setting up a business checking and savings account so that I can put money from projects back into my business and build up a little bit of a cushion so that, unexpected tools, expenses, whatever, I can cover those. And then working with my suppliers for contractor type accounts, so that one, I can get materials for jobs cheaper. And then I have that rapport, and they know me, and I know a little bit more about the process of ordering, what I can and can't get, where I need to get things from, and all of those kinds of things. And so overall, I kind of identified $4,000 to $5,000 capital money, kind of as an immediate need. Next slide, please. And that's my presentation of my business. Thank you.
Woohoo!